Hello, I'm Russ Skinner. I'm a lead driver trainer for TP Trucking. We're at TP Trucking in Central Point, and today we'll be going over load tarping. The purpose of this training is to teach proper tarping technique and to help ensure protection of the load from the elements, moisture, and road grime. When tarping, there are some key things to remember. Use of the fall protection system and PPE are required when available. In the off chance the fall protection system is not available, use extreme caution when on the load. There are several different types of tarping stations. Reach out to the facility's shipping office for guidance and follow their requirements. Customers will occasionally require rolled plastic on the load prior to putting the tarps on for additional protection from moisture. Use caution if walking on this as it's slippery. Straps must be fastened under the plastic for proper securement of the load. Always put the back tarp on first. This helps prevent airflow from lifting up on the tarp, which could result in the tarp leaving the trailer and causing potential accidents. Anything done on the back flap and wings, you will reverse order on the front. We'll go more in detail later on in this training. It is against TP Trucking policy to put straps over tarps, as this will damage the tarps, and more importantly, there's no securement value to the load. One or two can be used to hold the tarp to the load. Always have a forklift put your tarps on the load to prevent the possibility of injury. Starting with the back tarp, while on the load, look at the way it's folded. The fold is going to be in the center of the load. Next, unhook the bungee cords that secure the rolled tarp. You will use these on the other end of the tarp. Unroll the tarp. Then proceed to unfold the tarp, alternating left then right, back and forth. This helps prevent all the weight from being on one side when you flip the tarp over the side, which could cause the tarp to slide off the load. Once you have flipped over each side, check to make sure it's centered on the load as best as possible. Adjust as needed by shifting at each end of the tarp. Some drivers unroll both tarps while on the load, which is a matter of preference. Fold the big flap in half 2 times, then get off the load. Grab the flap and flip it so it unrolls to the trailer deck. Use a bungee on each bottom corner to secure under the load to seal it. Next, using bungees or rope, hook each side flap using the D-rings to pull the flaps, sealing the corner. At the very bottom, fold up each side and hook with a bungee. Using the earlier mentioned bungees from when you unrolled the tarp, hook one to each end of the tarp on each side to take up the slack in the tarp. I call these tensioners as they keep tension on the tarp as you lace or bungee the side. TP Trucking recommends using shock cord, as it is safer and doesn't need to be removed every time you untarp, unlike bungees. Both are provided by the company when assigned your truck and trailer. Secure the tarp to the trailer using hooks outside or under the trailer if using rope. If using bungees, utilize the rub rail, spools, or hooks if available. Do not use the pockets as they are very sharp and this will eventually cut the bungees, leaving the tarp unsecured and letting moisture and road grime in and onto the product. After finishing with the back tarp, we're now ready to move on to the front tarp. Repeat the process of centering, unrolling, and unfolding as done with the back tarp. When securing the front end flap and wings, the wings go in first. Then the front end flap goes over to seal the front. Repeat the process of securing the front tarp down the sides of the trailer as you did on the back tarp. During removal, be cautious as there is always a risk of injury. Stretch if necessary and use good body position to mitigate the risk of injury to the back or shoulders. When removing the tarp, reverse the process of applying the tarp. Start at the front and remove bungees and/or unlace the shock cord, working down one side and around to the back, then up the other side to the front. When pulling off the tarp, you want to create a pocket of air under the tarp. To do this, pull up on the tarp, then out. Once the tarp is on the ground, stretch flat and fold the flaps in. Fold one side of the tarp over. Then the other side until it is folded, like when you started. Next, grab the opposite end from the flaps and fold to within 18 inches of the end. Starting at the folded end, roll up the tarp, then secure with the bungees that were used earlier as the tensioners. When ready to store the tarps, either put them in the strap box or have a forklift put them on your trailer deck and secure with a strap. Keep in mind that tarping is a routine-based process. Create a routine that works for you and repeat it every time. This way you won't miss a step. Thank you for following along on the TP Trucking Load Tarping training.